everyone, I'm Blanche and welcome to Feast in the Middle East, where I show you how to make authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, quick and easy but with a modern twist. And my modern twist today is Labne Cheesecake with ginger almond crust. Can you say that fast 3 times? As a matter of fact, I'm going to a Christmas party and this is a dessert I will be taking to it. Now, Labne is kefir cheese. It's hugely popular, Lebanon, Palestine, Egypt, Syria. What we do is we take this cheese, we spread it on a plate, and we add some olive oil, and then we dip it with pita bread. It's sort of like a Greek yogurt on roids. It's that much more creamy and that much more tangy, and I always enjoy it with jam, which led me to believe that I could make a really awesome dessert with it, and it turned out really nice. To start with this cheesecake, I'm gonna make the crust. Now, the crust is not your typical cheesecake crust that always uses graham cracker crumbs. It's actually a crust made out of almond meal, which you see me using quite often in my recipes. I just think it's so versatile for cooking and for baking. I use about 1.5 cups of almond meal. If you want this to be gluten-free, use 2 cups of almond meal, but I'm using 1.5 cups of almond meal, along with half of a stick of melted butter. Half a stick, that's it. Most recipes out there use a stick or 2 sticks of butter. But if you're gonna be indulging in eggnog and drinks and brie and cheese and all of this stuff, filet and rack of lamb, why do you wanna kill it with dessert? I mean, you wanna fit into your nice party dress, don't you? Or zip into your pants the next day. So I'm all about enjoying your dessert. To this, I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of ground up ginger snaps. That's where the ginger flavor comes in. If you're going the gluten-free route, you can add a teaspoon of ginger, but this is just ginger snaps. These are the kind I use. I use the fairly thin ones, and I just put them in the food processor and ground them up really fine. To add another dimension of flavor to the crust, I'm going to put about a teaspoon of cinnamon too. So there is my cinnamon. So we're just gonna keep mixing this up until it's well incorporated, and I'm gonna put this in the bottom of my tart pan. I really love the combination of the ginger and the almond and the tangy Labne. It's almost like a cross between a flan, a creme brulee, and a cheesecake all in one. So now that this is all stirred up and kind of lumpy but pliable, I'm going to put it into my tart dish. I'm using a really pretty festive one for this party that I'm going to. So I'm just gonna put this in here and kind of shake it around, press it down with my spoon, and whatever you can't do with your spoon, use your hands. I wash my hands. That way you can make sure it's evenly distributed and covering the whole bottom of it, like that. Okay, so I pressed it down to make this nice crust. It's really rustic looking and it tastes fabulous. Graham crackers are great, but you know, let's try something different for the holidays. Now for the filling. The filling, I'm going to use 3 eggs. 3 eggs, 2. And then what I'm gonna do is add 1/3 cup of coconut sugar. And coconut sugar, if you wanna know more about my feelings about coconut sugar, then go to my ice cream episode and you can learn all about my coconut sugar. I just use 1/3 cup, but you could actually use 1/2 cup. Actually, yeah, you can use 1/2 cup. Maybe I'll use a little more. I'll say 1/2 cup of sugar, since I didn't put much sugar in the crust, so. And then what we're gonna do is put the juice of 1/2 of a lemon, or before I juice it, I'm gonna put some lemon zest. So I'm gonna get some lemon zest here, using my zester. I would say about a teaspoon of lemon zest. Make sure you don't get seeds in. And I'm gonna put about the juice of 1/2 a lemon. Now we're going to whip this on high speed. Now as you can see, it's frothy, it's like the color of caramel. So now what we're gonna do is add the Labne. I'm going to use a standard container, which is 1 pound of Labne. We're gonna put the whole thing in there. This time, instead of whipping it quickly, we're gonna just stir it around slowly until it's well incorporated. It's got that beautiful caramel color. Now, I didn't put any sugar in the crust this time because I use the ginger snaps, which have sugar in them, and I don't like my dessert super sweet. If you want a little more kick to your crust, feel free to add maybe 1/3 cup of coconut sugar to your crust. Okay, so as you can see, I've mixed it on low speed until all the lumps are gone and the mixture is fully incorporated. I'm now going to pour this over my crust. Okay, just make sure it's even. There you go. Okay, we're gonna spread it around like this. Now I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for about 45 minutes or until the top is lightly browned and the inside is set. You could test it with a fork to make sure it's not too liquidy before you take it out. Okay, so I prepared a second one in a springform pan to give you an idea of what it looks like in a springform pan, just like you would a cheesecake. And I decorated it with mangoes. I saw some mangoes in the market and I thought I'd like a tropical taste in the middle of winter. But in the summer, this is great with some fresh berries on the top. So to serve it, you just go in from the bottom like this. This is so good. It's creamy and light, just a touch of sweetness. It's tangy from the Labne, and it's got that nutty flavor from the almond meal, and it's got a little zap from the ginger. You can't go wrong with this recipe, especially if you want to keep it light during the holidays. Thank you for joining me on Feast in the Middle East. To see this recipe, you could go to feastinthemiddleeast.com. You could check me out on ifood.tv, on curious.com. But most of all, the gift that you can give me over the holidays is a comment or a like or some feedback. I enjoy hearing about all of your stories of how you're incorporating my recipes into your everyday life. I live for that. So until next time, sahtin, thanks for joining me.